Everyone, welcome into TexAgs Rewind, presented by Specs in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We go around the room and ask people what they liked about the show, because that's how you kind of know what's coming up on the show. Reed, favorite part of the program?
I think Coach Pat Henry.
Really?
I liked the upbeat, we need that win.
Yeah, SEC Men's Indoor Champions. Pat Henry was in here to talk about it. Nick, your favorite part of the program?
Without fail, Reed picks somebody who isn't on the rewind every time we do this thing. But
he doesn't get the sheet.
I know, that's fair.
But Henry was great.
He was. Coach Henry was great. He's a champion now. Charean Williams, my favorite part.
Okay, all right, fine. Well, I'm not gonna go Luke Evangelist, even though I thought Luke was awesome. Luke was very good, but everything is hyperbole Luke, right? Everything is the greatest ever. It's the greatest day in the history of days. The greatest this, the greatest that. He sounds like a president. Like, everything is just amazing. Everything's great. I'm going to make this rewind great again. All right, so I'll choose John Harris. All right, we talked about the combine. We talked about just football, college football, and OB. OB was very, very good, too. It's rewind. Check it. It's going to be hard against Auburn, no doubt about it. But getting back to what they do gives them the best chance at beating Auburn. And, yes, we know they're going to give up some three-point shots, but let's make them a little more uncomfortable taking those three-point shots. Let's make our closeout defense a little more sharp, a little more aggressive, just getting back to what they're great at.
Well, here's the deal. If they do all the things that they're great at and doing well, they still might not beat Auburn.
Right.
Auburn's the number one team in the country for a reason, right? And I think they got like 6 guys averaging double figures, and Janai Broome is the best player, arguably, in the country, and he can beat you at the three-point line. He can dominate you inside. It's a Herculean task to try to beat Auburn. I think on any given night, A&M can beat anybody, and maybe tonight will be that night. But to your point, if they're going to win, they're going to have to play much better defense than we've seen, and especially at the three-point line. Now, Buzz Williams was making a good point yesterday because he was asked about it. And he says it's not just the defense on the shooter, right? He said, and I explained what he meant. Yeah, in some games it was. You just left the guy open, and he was getting open and shooting.
Right.
Like against Florida, that wasn't, he said, so much an issue as not getting the rebound after they miss, and then getting them a second and a third opportunity.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it all changes. But to your point, yes, you gotta play better defense, and that includes getting the defensive rebounds when you finally get on the miss. And then you're gonna have to get offensive rebounds. We all know this because their whole recipe is to shoot more shots than their opponent because they know they're not going to they may not hit as many. And then also the third part of that, get to the foul line and be successful there. And they've done a pretty good job at the foul line of late.
Yeah, AC Law, obviously, with what he did against Texas, ranks right up there and will always rank right up there. And yeah, but, I just think way changing. Now, it's got to continue after this year, and I think it will. But I just think he changed the entire culture and the way people look at A&M basketball and everything that comes with that. So, yeah, I think he's going to walk away from here as the greatest basketball athlete we've ever had. And there have been some really good ones. There's no question about that. But I just think on the scale and with what he's done, culture-wise and everything else, not just scoring record, that's great and all that, but just his leadership and everything else, I think he will walk out of here as the greatest male basketball player in the history of the school. And there's something to be said for that. That's really hard to do in any sport, no matter, how good or how bad or how mediocre you've been, to be the best in something, considering how long we've had basketball, is amazing. And again, I know we haven't had all that many great teams in the history of the school, but we've had enough teams and we had enough good players to say that about Wade Taylor. I think it's something.
Talking to Charean Williams here on TexAgs Live. Charean, I don't think we've spoken since Shamar Stewart's nice run there at the Combine. Just what are you hearing from scouts? What's kind of the word on Shamar Stewart?
Well, he made himself a lot of money, I'll tell you that. It was really special. I got to to meet one-on-one with all three of our Aggies. All the NFL people who are escorting around know him, and hey, Sheree, this is Nick Scorton. I was like, oh, Nick, I'm an Aggie, and so we high-fived and we talked for a little bit, and then I went up and introduced myself to Shamar Turner, and he said, can I hug you? I got to hug all my Aggies. And so he hugged me, and then I talked to Shamar Stewart, and he saw my ring, and he grabbed my hand. He said, I just ordered my ring. I can't wait to get my ring. I'm so excited. But he made himself a ton of money. And, I hope it's not one of those things where, because the questions are obviously the production didn't match. Around the quarterback a lot. Just didn't take the quarterback down. 4.5 in his career, 1.5 last season. Just didn't get the quarterback to the ground. So I hope, and some undisciplined penalties, we all know. So I hope that he can translate it all to the NFL, that potential and all that comes out, and he can be the next Myles Garrett.
What do you think about it? Obi on the show yesterday mentioned that, just make that player have to leave that series, and not come back in that series. He thinks that's an easy fix to it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Obi's closer to it because it's dicey. You all of a sudden flag a team for 5 yards or cost them a timeout, and a guy's got a high ankle sprain. I mean, I think the biggest thing is if that guy goes down, he's out the series. He's done. He's done for the series. Now, again, that can be dicey as well because he might just need to kind of need a second. And I've seen that plenty of times. Guy kind of. He takes a hit, kind of falls a little awkwardly. His shoulder fall. He landed his shoulder wrong. I got to go back in the game. But I think there can be something you can do that it doesn't put. And I think that's what Obi's doing. Taking a judgment out of is that a real injury? I don't know. I think officials have a pretty good idea of what is a real injury and what isn't, and so now they're going to again be subject to making a subjective answer I don't know. Is he? I think OB's is more quantitative. Okay, that guy's down. He's out the series. I think that's probably easier for the officials to determine. And I think that's probably where it goes. But, yeah, this is nonsense. When you watch replays and the linebackers lining everybody up, and then all of a sudden, calf injury. Okay, come on, man. There are cameras everywhere. They should be able to catch that kind of thing, and they do a lot of times. So hopefully that's something. They'll do something because the college game needs it. They definitely need something, and I think both are probably pretty good starts, but I'll be curious to see what they land on for that situation, David.
Wade Taylor scoring a bunch doesn't automatically mean A&M's going to win, but it gives them a better chance because when you have guys like Chaz Lanier or Will Richard who are going to hit nearly every single shot they're going to take, you have to have someone that can match that. And outside of C.J. Wilcher, there is no one else on this team that can shoot from three like that. You can't consistently trade twos for threes. They did that against Florida. I thought Pharrell Payne looked really good. He was playing against the deepest front court in the league, the tallest front court in the league, and he still managed to go get you some buckets. He wasn't as efficient, but that's okay. You can't expect him to shoot 80% when he's going against 7-footers all game. But A&M cannot trade twos for threes. As good as Pharrell Payne looked, mathematically, A&M's offense is not good enough to let the other team shoot 48% from three, and they are just trading twos for threes all game. So A&M has won games where they can make 6 threes. They've made 5 threes in one game, but they can't do that when their opponents are making 13 and 14, and that's just going to be the story again tonight. If A&M makes 6 threes, they could maybe beat Auburn, but not if Auburn makes more than 8 or 9.
Shout out to Mr. Reed, Rod Reed, Marcel's dad, listening to the show. He brings up Moses Scurry was the guy on UNLV that I couldn't think of.
Right.
I'm serious, man. You know who Grandmama is?
Potentially.
You don't know who Grandmama is?
No.
Right. Larry Johnson. You've heard the name Larry Johnson?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Do you know where he's from?
No.
He's from Dallas. You should know this guy.
Okay.
That guy in his day was like Barkley. Okay, in the NBA, he had some back issues, but that team was loaded. All right, we'll continue about A&M because nobody wants to hear about UNLV on this show. What does a win do Okay, let's say what do 2 wins do? Seeding wise, if A&M somehow beats Auburn tonight and they beat LSU on Saturday, what does that do seed wise? Because I think today there's still a 4, right?
Yeah, I just looked at Bracket Matrix. As of right now, 40% of bracketologists have them as a 3 still, which is encouraging, but they're probably the last number 3 seed.
All right, Reed. What do you think I'm going to ask you?
I know. Well, depends on how you're going to word it.
Okay.
But you're going to ask me what.
I'm going to ask you to do 2 things. I want you to close your laptop. I want your hands up in the air, like right, like you're under arrest, and I want you to tell the people what to do.
Make sure and like and subscribe on YouTube. Comment in the comment section. Make sure to comment on TexAgs.com.
Wasn't he supposed to do a voice or
something? He was
something?
supposed to do a voice. Yeah, you were.
Do you want me to do a voice?
Do you have a voice? Now I feel bad that I have you like you're being hazed. I don't mean it. You can put your hands down.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have a voice for us?
I mean,
no, you don't. You don't have one. You're out.
You have to give me something.
Hey, can I ask you guys something? Billy says I sound like Kermit the Frog sometimes. Do you think I sound like hello, Kermit the Frog?
That's a pretty good
but do I talk like that normally, Nick?
I don't know. I don't ever hear
He
it.
says like the exaggerated version of me sounds like Kermit the Frog. I don't think I sound like Kermit the Frog.
I think it's a kind of like Patrick Mahomes. Like once you hear it, you kind of like it starts.
Yeah, I get what he's saying there.
Yeah.
I kind of agree.
So I sound like Patrick Mahomes or just an exaggerated?
Yeah, we'll say you sound like Patrick Mahomes, not Kermit the Frog. I think that's a better.
I'll take that. I don't want anybody to comment on it below. Do not comment on it. Don't. See you next time.